Hey, it's What the Flick, everybody. Ben and Alonso with you. Episode 5 here of Season 5 of Downton Abbey. And we confirm in this episode what was, I guess, pretty clear last week, which was that Thomas's secret formula is an effort to...
He's trying to ex-gay himself.
He's trying to ex-gay himself. If only he were around 70 years later when that was perfected.
Well, it reminded me, there's a scene in the movie Morris, which is set a few decades after this, where, or maybe not that far, I didn't look it up. Anyway, but where the character goes in for hypnosis with Ben Kingsley.
Oh,
yeah. Doesn't work.
Yeah, you know, very quickly, when I worked as a journalist in Miami, one of the stories that it was on this place, Exodus International, which was then just, and I sat in a group of 5 or 6 men who, and a leader whose whole point was that it had worked for him, right? He was celibate. That's how it had worked for him. And you just ached for these 5 guys who were...
Yeah, it's like people I know were watching that My Husband's Not Gay thing on TLC because they thought it was hilarious. I just found it sad.
Those guys were sad, and within a couple of weeks after we aired the piece, 2 of those guys called to say, hey, it turns out I'm gay, and you know, it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. Everything's fine. Yeah.
So yeah, poor Thomas. Like, you know, as much as we never ever want to like feel sympathy for him, you know, he's a troubled guy.
And you wanted to find. Anyway, I think we have a clip, boys. All right, little clip. Here's a preview, episode 5.
The truth is they're well suited, whether we like it or not.
I'm afraid you've read somewhere that rudeness in old age is amusing.
You're making the biggest mistake of your life. But I know she loves you.
Have any of you heard of someone called Atticus Aldridge?
Margie feels that you want the child to be a plaything.
How can she say that?
And you like Mr. Green?
Yes, I did. Very much.
Downton Abbey on Masterpiece.
So we have our first Jew.
Yes, our first Jew on Downton Abbey. You know, and again, the pogroms of 1859 and 1871, which were really ingrained into our head that's when they were. I like it because Rose could think at that point, because there's that moment, you know, when he decides, okay, I'll reveal it to her, but this will probably scare her off because she's from a good family.
She doesn't even get it.
She doesn't even get it, and she's also thinking, no, look, I made out with a black guy last season. Like,
Jew is nothing.
This is nothing. This is nothing. They're already so mad at me.
Well, I love that that Mrs. Crawley, the most progressive and forward-thinking of the bunch, even she at the word pogrom was like, okay, nice.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
so that's a line even for her to cross.
But I liked that scene. That was good. It was the first time I thought that they'd given Rose something meaningful. That she didn't feel like a conduit to tell another story, like her interest in the Russian exiles. That it's not really about Rose. That's just she's just being
to
used.
Get her to Violet, yeah.
Right. I did love that conversation between Aunt Rosalind, is it?
Mm-hmm.
Rosamond and
Violet.
And Violet. That was that line that was in there about rudeness in old age is amusing. So I was unclear. Then does Violet know everything?
Violet knows everything. So
what was she so eager to get Rosamond to tell her?
Basically, I think she is trying to nip anything potentially scandalous in the bud. And obviously, if Edith is making a big to-do about this kid, well, first of all, she didn't know the kid was around.
Right.
The understanding was that she went off to Switzerland, had the baby, and gave it up for adoption.
So that's what Violet didn't know.
That's what she didn't know. Yeah, okay. Rosamond knew that the baby was back in Downton, but Violet didn't, and now she knows. And so they're very much trying to kind of keep a lid on all this. We don't know who Edith is calling at the end on Mr. Carson's phone and what she's got planned in London. Who do you think?
Who could she be calling?
In London? I don't even know.
A lawyer? A barrister?
A barrister? Yeah. I honestly have no idea.
There are a couple things that I don't think are working. One of them is to have us still be concerned about Bates and Anna and Mr. Green.
Yeah, I've been saying that feels too much like a rehash of the earlier Mr. Bates murder trial, and who cares?
And it doesn't seem like Bates did have anything to do with it. Yeah. But I don't know, and I'm not really concerned.
They haven't hooked into it in a dramatically satisfying way. Like, we've got like Thomas asks the occasional question about it, but it's just like there's no I'm not feeling the stakes. It just kind of feels like, well, we have to give them something that's sort of dangerous.
And the cops have yet to do hey, look, of course we're investigating it. We hear Bates didn't get along with him, and Bates is a known killer. or was
Well,
arrested.
he was
Exonerated, but I mean, the cops would consider him
sure
trouble.
a person of interest.
Right, a person of interest, and they haven't even gone there. And the other thing that I really don't think is working, which I think really hurts the drama on it, is the farmer's wife, Mrs. Drew.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't Mr. Drew just tell her?
Well, you tell a woman. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I don't. No,
But that's really what they're getting at, because Mrs. Drew would feel the same need to protect it and to protect the kid.
Right.
Mrs. Drew would have no upside for revealing this information and would probably say, oh, I see. Well, let's name her the godmother.
Well, but if anything, it might make her feel all the more threatened that the bio mom is like sniffing around and wanting to whisk the kid off to Switzerland or whatever.
Right, but I mean, if it was a promise of, no, you're going to raise her, and I'm going to come by 3 or 4 days a week, and we'll see, maybe at 16, I don't. It just seems like it's not even an option that's being discussed, which for me, and all these steps are being taken because Mrs. Drew, why don't you
just tell her?
Just try it.
That's an interesting point. I don't know why that's such a thing, but obviously otherwise there's no story.
Otherwise,
it's that 5-minute conversation that ends the movie, so we can't have that.
Ends the movie in minute 16. Right.
I love that Sir Charles Pierce is turning out to be quite the Machiavellian.
Yeah.
He's trying to hook up Lord Gillingham with his ex, so that Mary can make a clean getaway and marry him.
I also love their total disinterest in her anger. Like, she's up. I think I'm quite too. You're not going to stay for dinner? I hope you choke on it. And he's like, all right, well, I'll just move into her seat.
Yeah.
Like, there's no.
I'll have her portion, but not pink, please.
He's not going to get her. And it'll probably work because if it's true what he says, that come on, you love Tony.
Right. You'll calm down and you'll take him back. And, No, I think it's working on paper so far.
Right.
We'll
and as always, it leaves Tony out of it.
Well, yeah, exactly. He's got no say. Why should he?
Right, Tony. And then, of course, the big thing is between the Lord and.
Yes. Oh, yeah. So Mr. Bricker finally makes his move, and
I didn't like him from the start.
Well, I love Richard E. Grant as an actor, but that character was always a little weaselly, and
and he plays him weaselly because he's good. Yeah.
But he's not wrong. In sensing that Cora is undercherished.
Yeah, Cora's undercherished. She's dismissed. I mean, he is. and thankfully, Mrs. Patmore lucked out of taking Carson's advice, because it wasn't even Carson's financial advice.
It was
Grantham,
which is always shitty,
catastrophic for whoever follows it.
Which we have. I think my new word for him now is petulant. Mm-hmm. He is a big brat. Like that whole party scene where she's trying to liven things up with the gossip, and he's just like,
yeah, she's trying so hard, and of course she didn't
do anything wrong.
She did nothing, and on some level she was probably impressed by his. Well, yeah. Yeah, you like it.
I'm sure it was like I was like, oh, don't fight over me.
Yeah, that's right.
Stop.
I'll be over here, but stop. Yeah, so but that was quite dramatic, and having to lie to Edith, and that was good stuff. And there you're on Lord Grantham's side.
Yeah, no. I mean, he was completely justified in all that. But I'm just saying, but for the reason that all that got as far as it did is because Lord Grantham is a shitty husband.
He is a shitty husband. He is in many ways a shitty father. But I guess in the world of the various Downtons, right? He's probably one of the better ones.
Yeah, he's probably better than Shrimpy.
Right, he's probably better than Shrimpy. Although Shrimpy had that great father-daughter moment the week before.
Yes, that was lovely.
Where he was like, "No, you.
Yeah,
who
am I to tell you
love?
anything?
I'm not going to set you up. You find love, and
exactly.
I'll be there for you." Which was a Shrimpy. So are we missing anything?
Let's see. Well, the Carson and the money. Miss Bunting is leaving.
Miss Bunting is leaving, and it was weird because Daisy had the dramatic go save her, and then he went to save her, but all he was saving her was
bye-bye. Yeah. I'd say hail fellow, well met. Totally. I mean, I think dramatically she served a purpose in terms of kind of reminding Thomas of where he came from. I liked them together as a couple, but she again. I as much as I believe that there were people as radical and as outspoken as she was, those people usually were also smart enough not to do it at dinner.
Yeah,
You know?
she, it's a situation where you're like, no, I'm 100% in favor of your politics. I cannot be in the same room with you.
Yeah.
I'll take the other people.
I loved the last week's dinner where Lady Mary was like, well, happy now?
Yeah.
She was like, you really need to, because she kept trying to let's just stay on this, and she just kept going.
Yeah, because she doesn't, and there's something wrong with her in suggesting that Tom has to, he has to reject them, that he can't possibly love them. Yeah, like you can't say, you can't. It's not a complicated principle. They're my family. Sure. I don't agree with them politically at all.
Yeah, but these are, it's like when you hear somebody talk about, like, you may not like, my in-laws, but they are my children's grandparents.
Yeah, they're my
so
children's.
you have to so that these are his children's grandparents.
And you can still love having breakfast with them too.
Exactly.
So
really
so
good
yeah,
breakfast too.
I just wanted to. I kept thinking. My wife and I kept thinking about Thomas during this. About Tom during this. Right. You're fine. You're incredibly wealthy, incredibly handsome. Let her go. like let her go. This can work out for you, and you can end up with a saucy Labour Party member of Parliament.
I think he's going to eventually wind up with a younger version of Mrs. Crawley, like somebody who is sort of the purple but forward-thinking,
like Sybil.
Like Sybil was,
right,
exactly.
Right.
Yeah. So he'll find that again, I hope.
Anyway, so as always, good episode. Look forward to it. I just those two little moments of drama they're trying to create with Edith and the baby.
I am really sick of the whole Mr. Green murder investigation, but yeah, no, otherwise solid stuff.
As always, and good for Lord Grantham. Backhand. Back. Yeah. All right, good stuff. See you next week. Thank you.